What if you can build a lifestyle rental portfolio with fewer doors and still achieve your financial goals? Well, today we're diving into that very concept with Lisa Moore, a buy and hold investor from Utah. We pack so much in today's episode. We cover Lisa's journey, what she does to find new properties, why a 5-year vision is a must, and what should be absolutely included in your buy box. You can't miss this episode. So you're jumping from Facebook to Instagram DMs to LinkedIn to Meetup, just trying to find one investor who's actually building their investment portfolio.
Yep. And meanwhile, you're wasting your time networking with other investors who aren't aligned with your goals. Sound familiar?
Well, that's about to change. We have built InvestHER Plus, a one-stop platform for investors to make deeper connections and to build wealth.
This is not just about effective networking. We've built a clear success path to take you from where you are now to where you want to go. From mastering the market with our ebook, Market Master, to laying the foundation your business needs to grow with our on-demand course, Real Estate Fundamentals, you will gain the knowledge and the confidence to grow your portfolio.
InvestHER Plus launches January the 14th, and it will transform the way you connect with others. Start investing in yourself today. Click on the link below to join the waiting list. Welcome to the InvestHER Podcast. I'm Liz Faircloth.
And I am your co-host, Andressa Gadelli.
So Lisa, you've been able to build what we call a lifestyle rental portfolio, which I love and which we're going to dive into today. What was the pivotal moment that made you realize that a lifestyle rental portfolio with fewer doors could be actually more profitable than chasing just more and more properties?
I've always really based everything around my lifestyle, but I'd say a big moment was when I quit my W-2. And we always tried to write a kind of a year in review, what we did that year, the good, the bad, things like that. And when we were reflecting on that prior year, we realized how insanely busy we were. And when you're in it, you don't always realize it when you're just going from project to project and doing multiple things at once. But when we had the time to take a step back and started writing out everything we had done that year, we kind of looked at it and we're like, oh, so this is why we're so burnt out right now. This is why we're exhausted from things. So that reflecting on what we've been doing was really the point where we're like, okay, we don't want to repeat that. We don't want to get back into that pattern. So how do we prevent ourselves from doing that?
I love that. And I love the idea of, before jumping into I'd love to learn where you were in your business. So I'm just going to put a pin in that because I want to make sure everyone's listening to the idea of doing these reflection moments. If you have a spouse, if you're doing it by yourself, if you're part of an accountability group, if you're part of a mastermind, it's so powerful to do that. You could even do it quarterly. You could do it after every project. Literally, what worked, what didn't work. What do I want to change moving forward? Just asking yourself that question. You could ask yourself that on a weekly basis. What do I want to do differently moving forward? Because life is happening and it's not this 10 years ago. It's we're in it and we need to be able to pivot and move as we're in it so we can live the life we want on our own terms. I wanted to say that before we moved on that I just love the year in the review. I love looking backwards and saying what worked, what didn't, what do we want to do moving forward? So everyone listening, implement that as an ongoing strategy for yourself. So what were you up to at that point, Lisa? What did your portfolio look like? And what were the projects that you were involved in? And just give us a little more context of why you made that decision. And then we'll go after that.
So the decision, as with a lot of people, when COVID hit, my company sent us all working from home. And you kind of get used to that. You're working from home. And they've been telling us for the entire time that when we start coming back into the office, it'll be some sort of hybrid. And then I think it was June of 2021, we got an email saying, everyone back in the office, based on your position on these dates, no exceptions. And that for me was okay, no, there's no reason. I supported a global team. Everyone I talked to is all over the world. There wasn't anyone in my office that I had to deal with. And that was really when we were like, okay, what else, where do we need to be able to, for me to be able to step back from the W-2 and focus on real estate? So we were mid-project of one property that we were rehabbing. We were attempting to do a cash out refinance on another property. and we knew we needed to get a little more cash flow. So we started looking for properties. My husband being a GC, I also help with some of the rehabs. Then I was helping a lot more with them. So it was really looking at what our financials were and what our cash flow was to figure out what we needed to do. But we were in the middle of, as I said, that rehab project and a cash out. And then we started buying another one. And I wanted to leverage my W-2 income as much as possible. Financing can be a lot easier with a W-2. So once we finished that one cash out, we started another one. We sold a property and then we were buying another one kind of all at the same time. So there's like 3-4 pretty big things going on at once. But we really were pushing big time at that point to be able to quit as soon as we could, because I didn't want to be spending my time going into an office anymore. So with multiple rehabs going on, a couple of cash out refinances, selling a property and buying a property all at the same time, it was a very busy period of time for sure.
So when you had this year in review, this, as we say, there's moments of coming to Jesus moments, you leave your W-2. What did you then decide to focus on? So how did you then make that transition to say, okay, this is what I really want, or this is what we really want, because you're doing it with your husband, to almost like paint the picture of because in order to create a lifestyle rental portfolio, you got to be damn sure what you want your lifestyle to look like. So walk us through what that sort of visioning or process looked like, because it's not just like, it's 7:00 in the morning. What's my lifestyle going to look like? Like, it's a process, and it takes time and energy to really reflect and get really real with yourself. So I'm curious to hear what that looked like, because then we can ask about what strategies you put in place to get you there.
Yeah. So when I quit December of 21, and those next few months is when we really took the time to do the reflection and things like that. And we took some time off. We didn't get back into real estate until August, September. We'd been so busy. We were, just said, this is why we invest, to be able to take the time, to be able to do road trips and things like that. We also looked at that as a time to look at what we were doing in real estate and decide, is this what we want to focus on? We've been doing small multifamily, but we had the opportunity to kind of step back and say, okay, our portfolio supports us. Let's look and see if there's other avenues of real estate that interest us more. I wouldn't say it was an intentional, like, okay, I want to get into multifamily. It was, I started house hacking, and then we bought a duplex, triplex, fourplex, and it just sort of naturally progressed that way. So it wasn't an intentional, this is what I want to focus on. So we saw that opportunity as let's explore other avenues. We started to do that, realized multifamily really just is what we enjoy doing. We like the small to mid-size. We like finding old, weird, quirky properties that we can add value to. And that's just really what draws us. So for us, doing Vivid Vision, I read that book, and we wrote a very detailed not what we want our life to look like in 5 years, but you write it as if you were living it. So we both did it, and then we came together of what, like, I wrote mine, my husband wrote his, and then we kind of discussed, because if you do it together, you may not really fully put down what you want. You might be influenced unintentionally by your partner. So for us, it was like, let's do it separate, and really being true to like, what makes you happy? What do you want to do with your days? And we're not looking to never work. We enjoy working. We enjoy helping people with real estate. I'm the VP of the Utah REIA. I love educating people and doing that, doing podcasts. So it's not that we were like, I never want to have to work again, because that's just not us. But we wanted it to be balanced, where we could spend as much time as we wanted doing the things that we love doing in our free time, but also doing the things that we've really enjoyed doing within our business. And for us, that is definitely the small to mid-sized multifamily. I love working with sellers, helping them figure out what is the best way to handle their properties if they're looking to sell, or if they're looking to just retire. There's a lot of boomers out there that have a lot of properties, but they don't always know what the best avenue is for their property. That's the type of stuff that we enjoy doing. So when we had the freedom of time to really step back and reflect on what we had been doing, and we're still fine tuning that. We hired a property manager and realized we would rather internally property manage than deal with a property manager. So we've hired somebody that is taking care of majority of our property management, and I'm managing them. And that is so much less stress for us. It's so much more enjoyable. So there's just things like that too that can just be trial and error. But we definitely focus on what are the things that we enjoy. And if there's something that we find that we're doing that we really do not like, then that's when we take a step back and be like, okay, do we have to do this? Can we hire somebody to do this? What is the next step in us firing ourselves from this chore? Because it feels like a chore to us.
I love that. I want to talk about Vivid Vision for a moment because we'll put that in the show notes for everyone. But Cameron Herold is the author of that book. I've also have read it. And it's such a powerful approach because so often what happens, Lisa, is so many people are like, should I buy a short-term rental? What do you think of this market? And then you start asking questions about really what their vision is for their life in 5 years. And they cannot answer that question. They have no clue. So for us to then answer a question about what tactical strategy you should be employing now really is dictated on where do you want to be. It does matter. It's completely connected. So, and it doesn't mean you'll be doing exactly the same thing in 5 years, but it's like your North Star. I always like refer to that in Strive. I was talking to someone the other day in Strive and I said, what's your North Star? They're like, I don't know what you're saying right now. I'm like, okay, let's break it down. So I love that you did that. And I love that you did that with your husband. And I love that you did it separately first and then came together. What did you learn about yourself? Because I also want to make sure everyone's listening gets there's such an impact when we take the time. Because this is the important, not urgent things. And quite honestly, those are the things that most people don't do. They're not doing them. They're just slugging away, getting the next thing done. So what did you learn that you were surprised by when you did your Vivid Vision, when you brought to the table with your husband? Something did you learn about yourself? Something that you learned like, wow, I really do want that. I didn't even realize I want that. What did you learn about yourself? What was a breakthrough for yourself?
I think really being true to yourself on just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you always want to be doing it. So for me, I definitely enjoy things being organized and like paperwork being organized. I want nice, clean spreadsheets with our tenants, for example. I want to make sure that everything have good systems and processes, but I don't want to be the one to do it. In my W-2, I was always jumping on implementing systems and processes and documenting everything because I knew that if I had that, I could pass it off to someone. And it's the same in business. So when we did that and it really took a step back and be like, okay, I might be good at this, but is it something that I want to be doing every day? Bookkeeping. I'm good at bookkeeping. My background is finance. I can do it, but it's not what I want to be doing. So when we wrote down like what we want to be spending our day and really thinking about the tasks that you're just kind of naturally drawn to, if you're procrastinating, what are the tasks that you tend to do first? And those I found are the ones that I just have the most joy in doing. I enjoy doing them the most. So for me, it was very interesting to really kind of push myself and be like, okay, do you actually enjoy doing this? Is this something that actually makes you happy? Or are you doing it just because you're good at it and it just comes naturally to you? So that was a big separation for me in knowing, okay, I don't want to be doing certain tasks, even if I'm good at them. And then there was things that I was like, actually, I thought that I didn't enjoy this, but I actually don't mind, when we brought property management back in house. When we brought it back in house, it's like, this is actually way more enjoyable now that we have somebody to do most of it. But I find that I enjoy that way more than I thought that I was going to. So when you're really just true to yourself on the tasks that you enjoy doing, as opposed to not just what you're good at.
I like that because we could be good at certain things that we don't enjoy. We can enjoy things we're not that great at. It's a funny list to make, but I think that work is so important. That's why I wanted to really specify that. So let's get to then. So you create this Vivid Vision with your husband, really leaning into small multis, ones that you could renovate. You said quirky properties, quirky type of properties. So walk us through the next few months after you got more clear. What then transpired? How did you find the right deals that aligned with your lifestyle? And then take us through that next phase.
Yeah. So knowing that we wanted to focus on the small to mid-size, it really, when we're talking to people, when we're talking even to wholesalers, if I try and post on different investment groups, it makes it a lot easier for us to be able to say, we are buying small to mid-size multifamily in Utah, value add, class B, C properties. It makes it a lot easier to just communicate with people what you're looking for, where you see so many people say like, I want to buy a good deal.
Okay, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. What's a good deal? Because a good deal to me could be a horrible deal to somebody else. And that's back to like, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And knowing what your goals are really just helps you be more in line with what you go to invest in. Because if somebody really truly just wants to be passive and they want to invest in real estate, but they don't want to actively be doing it, that'll really narrow down their avenue of real estate investing. So many people, they want to get started and they're told wholesale and flip. And I'm always like, yeah, but those are really active. Like you're not gonna do that on the side. Well, you could do it on the side, but
they're businesses. They're full on businesses. Yep.
Yes. So if you're looking to leave a W-2 and live more passively, maybe you do that as a transition. But if your end goal is ultimately to not be having another job, trying to build a wholesale business may not be the best option. So for us, it was really just what are the goals and focusing on being able to communicate that to people of this is our buy box. This is what we want. We do long-term rentals because I get a lot of properties too that are, this works great as a short-term rental. And I'm always, I don't buy, one, it's not my buy box. And I would never, even if I decided to buy a short-term rental and completely have somebody else manage it, I would never buy a property that was only a short-term rental, with the exception of very few markets that are specific to like, this is 100% a tourist area. But so many people buy for one strategy, and we like to have multiple exit strategies.
Yeah. I love that. I love the idea of obviously a buy box. So many people are so vague with what they're looking for. And here's a tip for those listening. Your buy box what Lisa just said kind of delineated three things. Market, location is always key. The type of asset that you're looking for, because it's not just single family home. People might want a, multi, depending on the size of the multi. They may want a commercial property, a mixed use property. You want to get that specific because again, realtors, agents, property managers aren't going to be able to help you if you're like, yeah, I'll take anything from 0 to 500. Anything in that range. Like that's so vague. You're talking to different brokers. They don't even know the broker who can help you. So help you with a single family is not the broker helping you on a 20 unit, two different people, two different offices. And then the last thing is your strategy, right? Strategy is whether you want it to be long-term or short-term or mid-term or rent by the room. You could take the same asset and slice and dice it in different strategies, if you will. So when you're sharing your buy box, include those three things: market, asset class, and strategy, because then you'll be able to help the person help you. And I think that's what you're really after. I hear so many people are like, oh, I don't want to get so refined and so pigeonholed. No one will be able to help you if you're not pigeonholed.
Yeah. And when you try to spread yourself, once you like master something, if you've been doing short-term rentals for several years and you've got it down and you're like, you know what, I want to expand and try something else. But if you're getting started, I meet so many people that are trying to do 5, 10 different things at once, and they just spread themselves so thin. You never get good at one thing. And then I want to know, like, I want everyone to know that I am the small to mid-size multifamily buyer in Utah. When somebody thinks of me or somebody says, hey, I've got a 10 unit that, I'm trying to find someone, I want their mind to immediately go to, oh, Lisa, she buys those assets. So that's what our goal is. And if you're starting out and you're trying to do so many, if you're trying to narrow down what you want to focus on, then that could be good to kind of, trial and error, but you need to decide and really just focus in on that and go 100% in on one thing to get started and really just be known for that thing in your area.
Yeah, I love that. So by getting refined and say, okay, this is really what I zone in on. This is my core genius, my husband's core genius. Walk us through how getting so refined on your buy box helped you find that next deal. Where did you find it? How did you find it? Walk us through that next property, if you will, and the learnings you got from that.
Yeah, so knowing exactly what we're looking to buy, we want to eliminate deals as quick as possible. So if somebody sends us a deal, we want to be able to quickly eliminate that deal, whether it's this only works as a short-term rental. Okay, that's a no. Or for us right now, we're not doing industrial. So certain deals we get sent to us. But when they do get sent to us that are within our buy box, we can quickly analyze them and look and see, okay, is this something that's worth pursuing? So we look at, what the financials are, what the potential is in the property. We like the value add side of things. So we can quickly analyze it and see Utah's a very expensive market. So majority of the deals that we get sent are like, yeah, half this price I'd buy it, but this is way overpriced. So we can quickly analyze and see, okay, does this come close to hitting the numbers that we want? Yes, okay, I'll dig deeper and I'll do a deeper underwriting. If it doesn't even come close, so for us, like if I'm looking at a deal and I'd have to offer 50% of asking, I'm going to sideline that one.
Yeah.
If they start to drop the price, or I've had quite a few lately come back to me, brokers come back to me and say, hey, that property that you had inquired about, put an LOI in, made an offer on, they're considering lower offers, or they're considering this, where are you at, blah, blah, blah. But just knowing what you're buying and knowing what your buy box is and knowing what your goals are for that property, it just really helps us rifle through a lot of deals, eliminate a bunch, and then focus on the ones that seem like they could be potentials for us to buy.
I think that's so important. I'll ask folks, where are you buying? And they'll name like 7 different markets. I'm sorry, but you cannot be an expert. I don't know anyone that's an expert in 7 markets. That's a lot. And in order to make a decision, you said something really powerful. We want to eliminate properties as quickly as possible. In order to do that, you need to know your numbers. You need to know the rental price on the low end, the high end. If you added the value, what would it be? You need to know your general pricing for that area, both as a property value as well as rental, high and low. You can't do that if you don't know the market. And if so that's critical. In Utah, are there certain areas that you do not invest in, even just to get more refined? Or are you someone who's like, hey, it could be Utah. These are the areas I prefer. Because even at that point, right, you're trying to mitigate. You're trying to move as fast, not mitigate. You're trying to move as fast as you can, so you know your numbers. So, are there certain areas of Utah that you kind of lean into more, or the state works?
We focus right now mostly on what's called the Wasatch Front. So Salt Lake City, and then within an hour and a half north, hour and a half south. So that's the range that we focus on mainly. St. George, which is in southern Utah, is another area. We just haven't spent the time really. If we were to buy there, it'd probably be a short-term rental. And for us, we will not, back to like our lifestyle, managing short-term rentals, we've done it. It is not for us, does not fit my personality, does not fit my desires, and it doesn't fit our lifestyle. The long-term rentals, our goal is always to keep tenants in there for as long as possible, have low vacancies. And it just requires far less time for us to spend than a lot of other strategies. So that's the main reason we like the long-term rentals. So focusing on the Utah along that Wasatch Front is the main areas right now that we are focusing on.
What's been your favorite property to, like, how did you find the property? Like, what's been like your favorite, most profitable deal and like most creative way you've actually found it? And then, walk us through that. I love these creative ways we can find deals, because especially now, especially small multis still potentially overpriced, a lot of them. So finding better opportunities is a need for many people listening right now. So tell us the deal that you're like, if I will do this strategy again because we found this beautiful property.
Yeah, so it's actually sellers we found by walking the neighborhoods and talking to neighbors. So we do direct to seller. We do send out postcards, things like that. But anytime we buy a property, we always go and try and talk to all the neighbors. One, we want to make sure that if there's ever issues with the property, they know that it's owned by somebody local. They have seen our face. They have spoken to us. They have our phone number. So it helps us because they kind of keep eyes on the property, which has benefited us 100%. We've had neighbors call and be like, hey, FYI, you probably want to come check this out. There's X, Y, and Z happening at your house. And we're like, lovely. So it's definitely benefited us in doing that. But it also, we talk to them and just tell them, hey, if you know anyone that has rental units that is looking to sell them, we'd love to be connected to them. And one of the properties we bought, we talked to all the neighbors, and turned out that the neighbor had rental properties. So we actually bought a duplex that we're converting to a fourplex off of this couple. But what I loved about it is it was a win-win for both of us because they're the exact seller that we're looking for. They're retiring. They don't want to continue managing, but they don't want to lose that income because that is part of their retirement and they don't need a big chunk of money. So the seller finance, they wanted to seller finance. So it worked out perfect. They're exactly what we're looking for. We're providing them basically their retirement income. We're getting a great deal on the house with a payment that would be significantly lower than if we had to go to a bank right now. And we just sat down with them and we're basically just hashed out, okay, what do you need out of this? This is what we need out of it. And how can we make this a win-win for both sides? But we stop and talk to people if we see somebody in a truck and mowing the lawn. Good idea. We'll stop, and we've done it a bunch, and we have multiple contacts that they said, well, we're not quite ready to sell yet, but we'll keep your card, and we get their contact and kind of just touch base and follow up here and there. But talking to people, especially I think that older generation that has those assets that they're going to be offloading, is huge. Like most of them don't want to just be on a phone call or text messaging. They want that face-to-face. They want to know who they're dealing with. And a lot of people we talk to, they care about who is getting their property. We just spoke to a woman who has a property that she wants to sell, but she had a good offer on it, but the people that were going to buy it said, well, we're going to level it and put, I think, a gas station or something. And she's like, no, I don't, that's not the legacy that I want for this property. And she's like, I know that could potentially happen down the road, but I don't want to sell it to somebody that their immediate plan is to bulldoze it. So that matters to people, and finding out what matters to them, why they're selling and what their motivation is really can help you figure out if you can make a deal with them and satisfy their needs and your needs.
I love that. Sometimes it's the simple things that actually make the biggest difference. And talking to people, it seems such a simple concept, yet it's actually not what most people are doing right now. They're behind the screen. They're doing all this research. They're doing all this and I'm not saying you shouldn't do research and be behind the computer and use computers and apps. I'm not saying, go back to the Stone Ages, but there is something about talking to people in a community where you own a property and you're literally introducing yourself. It's a phenomenal strategy. Hands down, you cannot replace technology with that. You just can't. So I think that's a really good point, especially right now that we're so heavy on the non-face-to-face. So when you can do things that are face-to-face, you look like you're the top of the heap, so to speak, versus anyone else. So again, the question is, how can I differentiate myself from every other investor in this neighborhood? And literally by talking to people, and not just the neighbors, which I love, but the people that work in the township, the city official, the mayor, especially if it's a small town, you can meet the mayor. You can walk into City Hall and meet the mayor usually for small towns. City inspectors are never busy. Talk to them. The city planner. These people don't have much going on in small towns. They really don't. They just, if you go into these buildings, you'll be like, wow, these people are never in meetings. And I'm not talking about like the city of Philadelphia, but small towns, it's shocking. They're never doing anything. So they love talking to you. That's been my experience on small towns, especially. But, unless I just go in when they literally have nothing going on. But, I think that's so important, Lisa. And it's something that will serve you well as you continue to expand. I want to transition because I have loved having you in Strive. You are someone who, listen, a lot of masterminds, a lot of mentorship programs have a lot of different types of people in it. And I love our Strive members. When you joined, though, you played full out and you played in the arena. And I always like to say that, where if you want to make a change, whether it's in a mentorship program or whether it's scaling your portfolio and really getting that lifestyle rental portfolio underway and growing it, you have to play in the arena. You have to talk to neighbors. That's playing in the arena. So I love how you show up and who you are in Strive. And I'd love to understand from you what results you've gotten from Strive. Because whether it's Strive or another mentorship program or something that you're doing to develop yourself, you need to play in the arena. And I'd love to hear the results that you've gotten because you're continually growing and evolving.
So within Strive, they have the pods. So basically the first half of the year, you get to choose basically an education course. And I did
an accountability, education, yes. And accountability. Yep.
Yep. And I did Mandy's small pod one, which was really, really good. That kind of helped us focus on, okay, what do we really narrowing down our buy box. And then I'm doing Stephanie's systems and processes. And that one has been huge of just helping us get our business organized. Because it's one of those things where you have to do it, but when you're in a course and you're in something that's like, okay, this is what you're going to focus on now and choose one aspect of your business. So for me, the first time I took it, it was the property management. And having that course while we were taking back the property management, while we were trying to get things set up was a huge, huge help. Keeping us organized, getting our systems and processes put in place, really figuring out what's the best way to do different aspects of the property management. Like that was really, really helpful for us and completely pivotal in us getting our property management brought back in, getting the systems and processes done, getting somebody hired that can handle everything. That pod was huge, huge help when it came time to do that. So that was probably the biggest impact that we've had, was getting that, not just support on, the personal side of things, but that business side of here's what you need to do, here's what you need to focus on. And Stephanie gives such amazing detailed action steps and support on whatever system or process you choose to do within your business.
I love that, because that's really what it's about. Acquiring the next property is one thing. Acquiring it and having the right systems and processes in place so it saves you time and money is another level. And I think that's what women deserve, right? Women want that. They need that. Any investor, women, we are the one, we serve women in InvestHER, but that's key. And I think that's something that, I want to encourage everyone listening, whether it's Strive, whether it's something else, it's about cost and value. Like, what is the value of whatever I'm entering into so I can learn something, I can acquire skill and get the support that I need. And that's what we do at Strive, right? It's not just about the knowledge, but it's about the skill building and it's the support around you. Because I can learn everything and then not do anything.
Yeah.
I can learn it and not do anything. So I just really give you so many kudos, because you just play in the arena and you take action. And that is always going to move you towards, the right next step in my opinion. So kudos to you. And thank you for playing full out in Strive. And I love what you're doing with your portfolio. And I love how coachable you are. So that's what I want to say to you.
Thank you.
Where can all the ladies listening learn more about you?
You can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is More Doors with Lisa. I'm also getting a YouTube channel started, Lisa Field More, that will be uploading more videos and more educational things. I love that kind of give back and teaching people and helping people get started. If you are not organized with things and don't have stuff in order, the more properties you buy, it's just going to add to the chaos. If it feels like you have to take a step back to really figure out what you're going to focus on and getting organized in that so you can handle taking on more properties, don't think that buying more properties and having potentially more cash flow is going to solve your problems if you don't have a support and a company that is organized and has good systems and processes in place.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. But thank you so much for being on today, Lisa. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you.